Instacart says they have new tip protections for us shoppers. But are they really? Or are they putting us at even bigger risk? I'm Brian with Bulldog Delivers. Let's hit it. So this is my radio setup. This is what I'll use for broadcasting my newscasts and the like in my part-time fill-in gig. But I figured, let me try it for YouTube purposes, right? I mean, it is able to do both. So let me give this a try. Do something a little different today. So Instacart has announced that it is offering what they call tip protections for us. So they sent a email out on this on the 5th, April 5th, saying just launched better tip protection features for shoppers. And so here, right off the bat, I start asking a lot of questions. What's really in this for us? So, looking at their email here, it says, as part of our commitment to you, we're introducing new features like tip protection to provide a more seamless earning experience. And there's the prompt to learn more. Well, I click on that, and it takes me to a page that has absolutely nothing to do with what the topic of the email is. I decide to scroll down a little bit, and here we go. Here's basically the meat of it in the email, because I also read the corporate press release, which I want to refer to just in a little bit. So they say zeroed out tip coverage and more. So as far as tip protection, to help protect you from zeroed out tips, Instacart will now offer up to $10 of your tip when there are no issues with the order. I'm going to break that down for you in just a minute. Second point, faster access to your earnings. Customers now have just 2 hours to lower your tip after a batch is completed, giving you faster access to your earnings. They still have 2 weeks to increase tips. Well, there's a big news and game changer right there. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. Encouraging higher tips. You put a lot of care and effort into providing excellent service to your customers. If you receive a 5-star rating, the customer will get an in-app prompt to increase their tip. Okay, that's basically it. That's all that's in the email. So let's break down these 3 points, because this is really important to go down point by point. To help protect you from zeroed out tips, Instacart will now cover up to $10 of your tip when there are no issues with the order. There's the catch. It's a big catch, and this has a lot of problems attached to it. Let me explain. So we know that customers commit a lot of fraud on the Instacart platform, and we know from our own experiences that they'll falsely report items as damaged, they'll falsely report items as missing, and they'll even falsely report wrong items when it's exactly what they ordered. We already have a problem with cheapskate customers, low tippers and no tippers. This action by Instacart has already received a fair amount of media attention. It's been on the tech blogs, it's been on some network news, including CNN. Word is traveling. So what does that mean? Well, this is another opportunity for customers to commit fraud while getting away with a lower tip. I'll throw a scenario at you. So a customer tips you $7, $8, $9, we'll say. And then they decide, oh, well, I don't feel like paying a tip today, so I'm just going to zero out the tip. Well, they know that Instacart will probably cover that, right? But if they're vengeful customers, and I'm talking about the kind of customers that would give you a 1-star rating for no good reason, or maybe because something they wanted was just not available, completely out of your control, and they zero out the tip and give you a 1-star rating, and then report that item that they ordered that they didn't get as missing, which they can do, and then, voila, you get no tip at all. And you look at a missing item report. Scenario number 2. The customer orders an expensive item and decides they're going to report that as missing. You know, you've been there, it's happened to you. And then not only does the customer get a refund for an expensive item that they received, but then they zero out your tip, thinking that Instacart is going to reimburse you. But instead, they don't, because they reported that item as missing. So now the customer knows they can get away without tipping, and they'll get their order, and they'll get a refund. They get a triple play. I'm sorry, it's just the skeptic in me. Look, I don't work in the corporate world because I can't deal with corporate BS. This smells like corporate BS, as I will share in the press release. Faster access to your earnings. Customers now have just 2 hours to lower your tip after a batch is completed, giving you faster access to your earnings. They still have 2 weeks to increase tips. When did that begin? Actually, let's take a look at the Instacart app today. I looked at my earnings from Monday, the last day that I worked, because I did take Tuesday off. Today is Wednesday when I'm recording this video. And it says customers still have 24 hours to change your tip. I do agree with the 2-hour window to lower your tip. This is just what Uber does, except they do it in a 1-hour window. But that goes both ways. To increase or lower the tip and to rate you, they only have 1 hour to do so. But in Instacart world, they have 2 hours to lower the tip. They have, I don't know if they have 2 weeks, but at least they have 24 hours to increase it. And here's the kicker. Here's the part that still ticks me off. They still have 2 weeks to rate you. That needs to change today. But I've been saying that for months. You put a lot of care and effort into providing excellent service to your customers. If you receive a 5-star rating, the customer will get an in-app prompt to increase their tip. Okay, that's nice. I really don't have a lot to say about it. So, whatever. We know from experience that, hey, a lot of customers will increase our tip at the end if they're really that happy with you. So I pull up the press release that, of course, contains flowery quotes from some spokesman. And then they also did reiterate all the points that we got in our email. But here's a paragraph that I found very interesting, so I just want to share this with you. In addition, customers who rate their shoppers 5 stars will be prompted to consider increasing their tip after checkout to recognize great service from their shopper. This feature resulted in a 6% average increase in shoppers' earnings from tips on eligible orders as it's been rolled out over the past few months. So my question is, has this been tested in individual markets or has this been a larger scale thing? I don't know. Were you even aware that this was going on? At checkout, customers who select not to leave a tip are encouraged to add one to recognize their shopper's hard work. In testing, this feature has resulted in a 12% average reduction in customers choosing not to leave a tip. So what that means is that 88% of the no-tippers continue to hold fast to not leaving a tip. Which is why, once again, you should never, ever take a no-tip order. Under any circumstances. Look, folks, I don't work well in the corporate world because I can sniff out corporate BS from a mile away. And I understand that there's marketing versus reality. And unfortunately, a lot of companies focus on the marketing aspect rather than looking at reality. Reality always wins. Now, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong about my suspicions on this new tipping policy, which would only encourage more fraud by customers, because I'm not seeing anything in here where it addresses that. Instead, this is a PR stunt by Instacart to make it look like that they care about their shoppers. There's probably going to be some shoppers that will benefit from this. I don't doubt that for a minute. But what I am worried about is how much more widespread fraud will be enabled on the platform because of this policy. Here's what I worry about. Rather than customers just reporting something as missing, damaged, or wrong and still leaving, the tip intact or even, not poorly rating you, the fact is these bag customers who want to ding you with a 1-star for no good reason and falsely report stuff as missing, they now have another weapon to use against you. And that is not only to lower the tip, but they know that Instacart will not cover the tip if they falsely report something as wrong. I'm sorry. These are the points that I see. I haven't listened to what anybody else has to say about this. This is just me looking at the words that are in front of me and trying to think, how is this going to affect me? And I have my suspicions. So I think shoppers should beware. Thank you again for watching. This has been a very busy week for me here. I do appreciate all of your comments in my videos all along, particularly in the last few days with the rating spiral that I've been going through. Thank you so much for your uplifting comments, as well as your observations and sharing your stories and how it's affected you. I really, really appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you for your words of encouragement and even concern. Yes, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. I'm actually doing okay. We're going to find out this weekend. This is going to be a big test for me. I'm going into what is normally a hot spot, and we'll see how I do out there with a 4.92 rating. And I'll work some of it off and see what happens. And I'll let you know how that all goes here with Florida spring break, which has been just absolutely insane. I appreciate you giving this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of these videos, topics, commentaries, tips, everything that matters to you as a gig worker, whether you're doing grocery shopping, food delivery, no matter the platform. I want to try and help you navigate the storm and be successful in that process. I'm Brian with Bulldog Delivers. Until next time, go get 'em.